What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am always your host, Edwin. And where do all fights start? Round one. We have an amazing show for you here today. So tune in with us where we're going to talk boxing and we're going to break down some of these topics in, uh, in the boxing world. So stay with us. Please do me a favor, give these videos a like if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and like always, let's hop right into this video. So what's up, fight fans? What's up, everybody out there? How you guys doing? You guys hear me loud and clear? Salute to everybody that's joining into the live stream. That's what's up, Frontline. How you doing? Loco TV, what's up, baby? How you doing? Cano, how you doing, baby? In the building. All right, salute, salute. Yeah, man, we got a lot to unfold. I haven't been on in a few days. Step away from boxing a little, and you guys know on Mondays I really don't go on. But since I haven't been on, I wanted to come on and quickly address some of the top stories and the Naoya Inoue fight that's shortly coming. And to alert you guys on the time on that. So if you want to get up early and watch a Naoya Inoue fight, unfortunately he's in Japan, so the time frame's a little off. And if you're more familiar about this, you're gonna have to get up roughly around 6 o'clock in the morning, which is not, too bad, I guess. We all probably wake up around there. It would be good to watch an action-packed fight. The main card starts at 4:15 if you want to watch the main card. He should be making his ring walk to the ring anywhere between 6 o'clock in the morning, in a way, and he will be going up against Yi John Kim. He is currently ranked number 11 for the WBO. In a short time, late replacement, they were able to find him, at least a ranked opponent. Talk about fighters wanting to fight Naoya Inoue when opportunity come. Boy, you could hear a pin drop. Not a lot of fighters really want to fight that man. We're gonna get into the Naoya, Naoya Inoue situation about Sam Goodman, and like where does this leave Sam Goodman? Does it knock him out of the ranking for the IBF and the WBO? Does he lose his slot? Can he potentially come back? And does Naoya Inoue and his camp want to do business with this guy? Because he didn't pull out one time, not twice, but 3 times out of this fight with Naoya Inoue. He steps in the ring in Tokyo, Japan, challenges him, takes a tune-up fight, breaks his hand, right? Goes into the fight with Naoya Inoue, suffers a cut. They gave him 30 days, and he suffers another cut. Like, who's his coach? Under what supervision did your team allow you to spar that hard 10 days out from the fight? And if your sparring partners can do that to you, shit, Naoya Inoue should be fighting your sparring partners because they beating your ass. So they get this guy right here, Naoya Inoue. What can I say about the man? He's truly special. How many men do you know in the sport of boxing that acquire all 4 belts and give a man an opportunity to win all 4 belts on one night? How many people do you know will it take a lifetime of work to go around collecting all those belts? Terrence Crawford said, I ain't giving nobody an opportunity. Get it out the mud just like I got it. Go get it, blood, sweat, and tears in the gym. I'm not giving you an opportunity on one night to stamp your name in the Hall of Fame. Who does that? How many fighters give you the ability to truly stamp your name in the Hall of Fame? This Kim guy pulls that off. Guess where his name will be? First man to beat Naoya Inoue, defeat the monster. Man, he has that's a big opportunity. These kind of opportunities don't come around every day. For a man like Naoya Inoue to put that up, boy, that says a lot. It really says a lot. So the fight itself, the opponent, I'm not so excited about. But what I am excited about is to get this fight out of the way. Bob Arum hinted to the possibility that his very next fight will be in United States, Las Vegas. So Bob has plans for him. I would like to see him step up. I believe there's no one else at the 122, but that would be up to him. For as much as I would like to see him branch up to the 126, that would be totally up to Naoya Inoue and his responsibility as a fighter to accept that. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these champions, such as Roy Jones, they didn't understand back then what it meant to protect your legacy, to protect what you built. The reason why Roy Jones Jr. is not in the conversation as one of the GOATs, one of the greatest, in which I believe he should be in that conversation, is because he lost 10 times and got knocked out 8. That will take you out of the conversation. But what that man did in his prime, there weren't too many men that can do that type stuff. But he didn't understand what it meant to protect your legacy. And a lot of these fighters don't retire well. They go on and have historic, legendary careers, and at the end suffer multiple losses, which truly affects their legacy. The only man that's seen to outsmart them all, Floyd Mayweather. If you were to beat Floyd Mayweather today in one of those exhibition fights for 2-minute rounds, his professional record stays intact. The only thing you'll have on him is bragging rights that you beat him in a boxing ring. But his actual boxing credentials, what he did, that's a done deal. That's sealed. Not unless you can get him a foolishly get in a ring with a sanctioned fight to try to beat him. Floyd did it. He outsmarted everyone. And that's what I mean about these men. You got to recognize what this Japanese fighter is doing. He's really, really daring to be great. And in a sport where you can never measure a man's will, his heart, there's no measuring stick for that. I don't know how far this Kim guy is going to be willing to go. He could be going in there willing to die. This is his Super Bowl. This is his moment. And people might write this guy off. I've seen a lot of people get written off. Buster Douglas being one of them. He had no chance to win that fight against Mike Tyson in the Tokyo Arena. But what did he do? What did he do? And when you fight in these mega fights, right? I want to stay up with you guys. What's up, Carlos? What's up, Armando? How you guys doing? Frontline, what's up? Maybe Frontline says, maybe Goodman has one time Thurman syndrome. Yo, okay, listen. Look, one time Keith Thurman, he tried it. He tried his his shot at a world title. They just didn't approve it. What's up, Carlos? How you doing? Listen, educational fact, right? Because here at Round One Sports Talk, we also talk about shit that happens in boxing that me and my brother were talking about this today, and I was thinking about it, and I was saying maybe a lot of people really don't know this tradition in boxing for titles. When you win a world title in a boxing match, right? Typically, they mail you your belt, right? Okay. But the ritual in boxing is that if you fight a guy for his world championship and you beat him, you want to wear that belt in the ring. That's the belt you want to be photographed with. The belt you beat a champion for. Meaning, when he's champion, if he would have defended the belt, whatever, typically they send in for these plaques that they go right here, right inside. It'll have the champion's name on it, date and time, and who he fought for this belt. When you beat him, that's the belt you want to put on. But that's not the belt you keep. These are the things that sometimes they don't talk about in boxing. Some of the rituals, ceremonies that you don't see. What happens is the minute you win it, you're supposed to get out of the ring, go to your opponent's, the former world champion's locker room, knock on the door, come in. You're supposed to hand them back his belt. Once you took a picture with it, okay, that solidifies you as a champion. You beat a champion. This was his belt. That's not the belt you're going to keep. You honorably, you got to give this back. There has been many situations that sometimes family members will record it, but it's typically someone in the locker room, and if they want to post it, they'll show it. Usually they don't show this. In rare cases, you'll see it play out. Remember when Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora fought? Tim Tszyu's wife, I think, filmed Sebastian Fundora giving him back the belt. He didn't even realize the ritual. He tried to give it back to Sebastian. She said, no, that's yours. He's giving it back to you. Then Tim Tszyu graciously took his belt back because he earned that. That's for him. Those are his memories. Okay? Then what they do is, like a week later or whatever, they mail you your new belts. Right? Same thing Terrence Crawford did with Errol Spence Jr. Remember the whole time there was like a plate missing in the IBF? This whole thing had fell out of Errol Spence's belt. He never fixed it. You could see where it fell out. You could see the red in the belt right through it. When Terrence Crawford won, you knew those was Errol's belts because when he took a picture in the ring, the plate was missing. So those were Errol's belts. Then in a rare occasion, you can YouTube this, they saw Terrence Crawford going to Errol's locker, his room, knocking on the door, and handing him back his belts. Here's your belts back, brother. These are yours. And that's what we do. It's not a written rule, but out of respect. Sometimes people want to hold the belt for the night, because they ain't going to have no belt once they return it. So they want to go out, party, be taking pictures with the belt. And at 7 o'clock in the morning the next day, they'll make an arrangement and send them back the belt to the other guy. Sometimes there's champions that don't go to the locker room and knock on the door because this is not a rule. This is something like your coach will tell you. We don't talk about this because first you got to win the belt. So they're not going to say, hey, after you win the belt, this is what you do. No, they don't want to jinx nothing. So it's something that somebody kind of whispers in your ear after you win the belt. Hey, you got to give that belt back. You'll get your own. Don't worry about it. You'll get your new one. Once you defend it, then you can get your plates and you become an official champion. It's one thing to win a belt, but it's another thing to defend it. Once you defend the belt amongst champion, you captured it and defended it, you sealed the deal. You're an official champion. You'll always be considered a champion if you get it, but if you lose it right away in your first title defense, it's kind of frowned upon a little bit. Yeah, you did it, but because what your championship status means is once you get the belt, you got to put your reign as a champion against the division, against everybody else. How do you fare sitting on the top of the mountain? That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Last champion had it. He reigned for this X, Y, minus Z time. How was your reign? If you win the belt and lose it right away, You have, multiple title defenses. So those are some of the things that go on behind the scenes with the belts that we don't really talk about. We don't really like, but that's how it goes. More or less, that's how it goes. The Saudi prince is coming in now, and I'm under the impression that I think that he's going to try to take that Ringside magazine and make it like a super belt. He's going to try to make the Ringside magazine more valuable than the organizations today. And if you ask me, I think that's going to screw up things. It's just like Turkey Al-Sheikh coming into the game and not understanding why everybody doesn't want to go along with you. What you're asking all these people to do, Saudi Prince, is to give up their power in their place in a sport of boxing they've probably been building for years. The PBC didn't want to go because you would be giving control or agreeing to what they want. You mean you built all of this up to give it away? And then by uniting with them, the powers that be, they're going to create a monopoly. They're going to slowly edge all these small promoters and everybody else out where that you're going to be forced to go to them. They're going to control it. The one thing in boxing that I believe that can fix boxing, don't give these guys a way out. Meaning, if I call you for a title shot or you get called for a fight and you deny the fight for whatever reason, you should go back to the end of the line. And if you really want a fight, work your way back up. Because when opportunity comes a knocking, you need to step up. We don't want to hear that you're going to go have a baby, that your heart's not into it. These are not valid excuses to hold up the division and to also keep your status. I believe every fighter that's offered a fight should have an extensive amount of time for a training camp. So if they weren't training, be like, okay, you weren't training, but we're offering you the fight. We're going to give you a full training camp, but you must take this fight. If not, go back to the end of the line. And next man, the very next man in up. Like, don't keep jumping down. No, do it the right way. And if he has a valid injury, that's the only way he doesn't lose his place. If they have valid things they can prove, right? Not just, oh, my heart's not into it. Oh, I won the belt. I want to go on vacation. Not right now. I need to go to Disney World. Those are not valid excuses of why you can't take the fight. If you want to keep boxing going, hold the fighter accountable. Don't allow them to just be like right now, Tio. They offer him a Subiel fight. All of a sudden, he doesn't want that fight. Now he wants this. No. You see, you're allowing the fighter to dictate where they can go. It's either you take this, you either got one or two options. That's it. What are you going to do? You want to unify, defend, how you want to do it. But you pick. But you're definitely fighting at this time. If not, we'll take our belt. And the fact that they want to turn it back to a one belt, that's impossible. We've gone too far. I would never vote to make it a one belt division because we're just going to go back to the initial problem of why we made it four belts in the first place. The reason why we couldn't keep it one belt, there's about 1,400 guys in each division, roughly. There's in some divisions, there's over 2,000 guys. There's way more in some divisions, right? How are you going to have one belt for 2,000 guys? What if that guy wants to go on a vacation for a year? You just hold up 2,000 guys' career? It doesn't work. The one belt theory does not work. There's too many fighters in boxing. That one champion to satisfy, he would have to fight like 10 times a year. The reason why these guys can only fight 3 and 4 times a year is because the other champions are fighting 3 or 4 times a year. If you were to add up all the champions throughout the division fighting in a year, that would be your 10 fights. If you had one champion, you would need him to fight that many times in order to keep things moving. That one belt era, that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The 4 belts, that'll work. And the only way you should ever implement an interim if the champion can't perform. Once he gets the interim, mandatory title fight. Interim gotta go. You're not supposed to defend an interim. One fight to the champion. If he can't perform, let me get my belt. Keep boxing moving. Don't have these guys defending these secondary belts. Not an interim belt. Now, I could see if you were the Latin youth champion and you were defending that belt. Yes, you can defend those kind of belts because you're the Latin youth champion. If you're, whatever kind of champion comes with those titles, but the secondary and the interim, those are belts that should never be defended. They should never be defended. So, in these senses and regards, like, those are the things I see wrong with boxing. But we can never go back to a one belt era. It's just not going to work. And they'll soon find out how fast it will not work. All the complaints in boxing. That's why we're at a 4 belt era in the beginning with. And money and greed is another thing. All the money in the sport. But guys, yeah, absolutely. We need a 5 belt era. I was seeing the Super Undisputed Ringside magazine one day. You'll see the ringside. A 5 belt era with the IBO, which is this belt right here. I have it in the corner. I also, if you don't notice, that I also have an IBO title too, as all 4 major sanctioning bodies. Now, the history of the belts, real quick, counting them down, we'll go from here. The WBO's main headquarters is in Puerto Rico. The WBA's in Panama, the IBF is in New Jersey, and the WBC's in Mexico. The IBO title is actually a European title. It's mostly, you'll see it with European fighters, champions. Anthony Joshua famously had the IBO, the Klitschko's. One of the biggest fights that we had so far was Demetrius Bivol versus Arthur, right? And that night, if you didn't know, all 5 belts were on the line on that night. All 5. So that was a big moment in sports. Will we ever see a 5 belt era? Perhaps. It took the WBO a long time. I think I addressed this in the other day. It was 2014. Bernard Hopkins against Oscar De La Hoya, Las Vegas. On that night, the world recognized the WBO, and it officially became a title. So I believe right around that time is when the record books started honoring the men and women that had the WBO championship as a real world title from that moment on. How long the IBO would have to put up their time, only God knows. What the IBO really needs is a real dominant champion to represent their belt. Let's just all remember that what makes these belts prestigious are the men and women that held it. Mayweather took the WBC championship and he really elevated that green belt. Whenever you seen Mayweather, all you saw was the WBC. You didn't see the WBA, the IBF, none of that. He's mostly recognized for this belt. That's what gives it that popularity, because the WBC is saying they have the best champion in the world. That's why back then they didn't really like to unify, because the WBC didn't want to tie their champion with or share him with the IBF or the WBA. They didn't like unifying. They wanted to fight, yes, to see what champion was the best, but they really didn't want to take their belt. When they saw the market value for that, then they started really like unifying some of these belts. But the IBO champion must be a man that the organization treats real well, and that he's like, I'm the IBO champion, I'm the best. I'll beat the WBC, I'll beat the IBF champion, I'll beat the WBO champion, I'll beat the WBA champion. And if he goes out there starting with the IBO and he keeps it, and the organization keeps telling him, you represent the IBO, remember that. And all he's talking is IBO talk, that's when a belt can like really take off overnight. When no one can beat that champion, they got the most dominant champion in all of boxing. And they need a champion like that. Stephen Kubo Fulton had it, but once he started winning the bigger belts, he vacates it. A lot of fighters were vacating it, and the IBL organization's trying to get them to stay with it. Yeah. So he can have 6 belts, because the Ringside Magazine as well, because the Ringside Magazine is slowly going to become somehow, some way, an official world title in the next few years. I guarantee it. Since the Saudi prince bought that belt, that's all he's been saying. See, what separates the Ringside Magazine from any other belt, you don't pay sanctioning fees to the Ringside Magazine. It's exactly what it says it is, the Ringside Magazine, which is supposed to be the Bible of boxing. That's where you used to be able to get your boxing information. But nowadays, you can come here to Round One Sports Talk. Pun intended, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, the Ringside Magazine was supposed to be when the people's champion, number 2, number 1, fighting against each other. The reason why it can't be considered a championship is because everybody doesn't have the ability to compete for it. Just because I'm the number 5 guy, you mean to tell me that I don't have the right because I'm not 2 and he ain't 1? So now we can't fight for your belt? And in the Ringside Magazine, it's an award. It's an award. If I don't meet the qualifications, I can't beat you for it in the ring. And if you don't have a Ringside Magazine officially in every weight division, then, I mean, they officially do, but it's very rare when the entire 17 weight divisions have a Ringside Magazine champion, or that the Ringside Magazine belt is on the line. So because of these rare moments with the Ringside, it really can't be considered a world championship, because it's not fair to everyone. A WBC, WBO, IBF, anybody can compete for it. Just move your way up the ranking and boop, there you go. See, so in that regards. But now I think the Saudi prince, he's going to try to put some real weight behind that prestigious title. Although not recognized as a world title, it is a very prestigious award, the Ringside Magazine belt. I would be honored to have a belt like that. It's been around for a long time. There were a lot of great men and women champions that once held the Ringside Magazine. A lot of people still hold it in high regards. Some people see it more as a popularity contest. No matter how you want to view it, it is a prestigious award. It is Ringside Magazine has been a staple in boxing under the hands that it's in right now. I'm a little concerned with its future or their narratives that they want to put out. But now the Saudi prince officially owns a belt. And that's what he wanted. He couldn't buy the sanctioning bodies, so he went and bought himself a belt. He didn't buy himself just any belt. He bought the Ringside Magazine belt. That's a pretty damn good start, if you ask me. It's not going to take much for him to sell it as a world champion when half of casual fans already believed it was a world champion. So you don't have to convince a good portion of boxing. You just got to sell it to them. They were under the impression it was a world championship this entire time. So in their head, nothing's changed. But to me, a boxing historian, is blah, blah, I'm not gonna even try to say it again. When you mess it up twice, just let it go. Just let it go. Right? That I understand the history of boxing. I understand the rules. I understand what's at stake, what's real and what's not. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want no, just like fighters like Naoya Inoue. That's why I respect that man so much, Naoya Inoue. You know why? Because his career is cut and dry. There's no confusion on his world title reign, his world titles. He fights nothing but for real world championships. No interims, no secondary, none of that crap. All his belts are stamped, approved. They're the real deal, baby. And when you're moving up 24 consecutive world championships in your entire career, percentage-wise, you won about 95% of all of your rounds. Very little fights you've ever seen Naoya Inoue ever lose one round. You recently, in his last 5 fights, he lost 1 round against Luis Pantera Nari. When Luis Pantera Nari knocked him down in that first round, no matter if Naoya was winning the round, does not matter. You got to award him a 10-8 round. That's a fact, Jack. Naoya lost that round. But besides that, Stephen Kubo Fulton, he pitched the shutout. Marlon Tapales, he pitched the shutout. Besides the knockdown, which is the one we're talking with Luis Pantera Nari, that's 1 round he lost. He didn't lose any rounds against TJ Doheny. And I don't think he's about to lose 1 round against this Kim dude. So I could honestly say, if I didn't, let's not jump to the future. Let's not count Kim. Okay? Because that fight hasn't happened. That's not fair. We can only count him for what he did. So we would have to go backwards. Who is the next fighter before Stephen Kubo Fulton? Paul Butler. He got scraped 11 rounds in a row. That was a shutout. So in his last 5 fights, he lost 1 round. If you were to do that with Naoya Inoue's entire career, there's not going to be many rounds he ever lost in his professional career. That's outstanding. Meaning Tank Davis was losing that Mario Barrio fight. He got more rounds lost in that fight than this dude got in his last 12 fights. Terrence Crawford was losing that fight against Sean Porter at one point. Mayweather is the only person that comes closely in mind, but he lost too many rounds in that. He lost collectively a few rounds in that Shane Mosley fight. The Zab Judah fight, he lost a couple rounds. The Madonna fight, he lost a couple of rounds. Yeah, Mayweather, he's out too. There's nobody quite doing it like Naoya Inoue. When I say video game shit, I really mean that shit. 24 consecutive world title fights, jumping out through multiple divisions. Are you freaking kidding me? Felix Trinidad was one of the closest fighters I've ever had the privilege to come up and put his record against Naoya Inoue as far as title defenses. There have been men and women that have had title defenses in one weight division, 20, 18 world title defenses. That's one weight division. What he's doing He has 24 consecutive world title fights throughout the course of 4 weight divisions. He's actually moving up, fighting the champion right away. No breaks in between. That's remarkable. That is truly, truly some video game shit right there. Yes, it is. So, like, stuff like that is why I marvel over some of these fighters. Some people might disagree with Naoya Inoue's status as a champion or what he did. And I find that funny because I'm sitting back saying to myself, in the 100 years of boxing, if you look at Terence Crawford's success, right? 2 weight divisions, 140, 147. There have been men that were undisputed at 140. There have been men that have been undisputed at 147 before. You see, so he's not the first man to be undisputed in those 2 weight divisions. Okay, let's check out Naoya Inoue's status. In the 100 years in bantamweight history, there has never been a man to be undisputed in bantamweight or super bantamweight. There's never been anybody to do that. Not in a 3-belt era or 4-belt era. No, maybe what was it, a 1-belt era, a 2-belt? They did it 75 freaking million years ago. That shit don't count. I'm talking, there's never been. So not only is he like the first person to do it, he's the first person to do it at the bantamweight level. And if it was so easy, why hasn't anyone else done it? Why can't anyone else mirror what Terence Crawford was doing it at that weight division? So Usyk went and did it at heavyweight. That's impressive. That is really impressive. You know, so some of these milestones, you could look at Naoya Inoue, and if you don't know much about him, I would really like suggest, if you love boxing, you want to see like the best, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there are different headlines and different conversations that I believe a lot of fight fans get mixed up. If you were to say who's the best man in boxing, like who's pound for pound number one, or who's the GOAT, you know, which you cannot call any active fighter a GOAT in boxing. The only way you could be considered a GOAT in boxing, you got to retire. And they add up your shit, you get GOAT status. So what I feel like, there's 17 weight divisions for a reason. Usyk's the best heavyweight. Terence Crawford's the best 147 pounder, right? He's moving up to 154 now, yes, but at the time. And Naoya Inoue is the best 122 pounder. That's how I see it. Terence the best up here. These guys got the right to be the best. That's a different conversation, because that's not the question some people are asking. The question they're asking is, who's the most skilled fighter in our era? Who's the best skilled fighter in our era? That's a different conversation. That's when now you got to put these fighters' styles against each other. And who has the best arsenal? Who has, I mean, the complete package, from footwork, everything. Offense, defense, everything. Ring IQ, mental fortitude, everything comes into play. That's when who's the best skilled fighter in our era, generation? I believe Naoya Inoue is the most generational talent I've ever probably seen in this era. I have not, and Terence Crawford is amazing for me. He's amazing. Shit, I even like Tank Davis, for as mad as I am at him. I like Shakur Stevenson. His boxing style, though, he might not be fan pleasing, but Shakur can fight. He understands things inside of a ring that a lot of fighters don't understand. And though Shakur Stevenson might be a little gun shy right now, I believe, right? And he's not really going in for the kill, but you're not really killing him. Why? You guys can't get to him. It's real hard to get to that dude, man. He's slick. He's slick, right? So as far as fighting styles and everything, I noticed that a lot of these guys are good in some areas, but all around, a complete, there's no fighter in the world more complete than Naoya Inoue. He slightly beats Terrence. Not by much, bro. And I'm telling you, not by much. Terrence is smart, man. Boy, is he smart. He's really smart. I started to see another angle in Terrence Crawford, where that he kind of like lowers himself to his competition for that he can like get a bigger fight. There's one thing I got to admit, though, that would really set Terrence Crawford apart, although I'm not with it, is that Saul Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't like it. I don't want it. But if he pulls that off, there's no greater fighter in the world. That achievement alone, 2 weight divisions, it's almost impossible to do. That's a complete setup. Then you guys heard the announcement today that they said? If you didn't, let me tell you. Saul said the only way he'll sign that fight, they're this close to finalizing the fight for September. The only way he'll agree to it is no rehydration clause. He's a real shitbag, bro. Yo, everything is on Saul Canelo Alvarez's side. He's fighting in his natural weight division. He has to move up too. No rehydration claw. I could blow up as big as I want to. Bien abusador, right? And real weight bully, right? That's what I just said in Latin. And everything, all, everything is on Saul's side. And Terrence Crawford, for some reason, is saying yes to everything. I don't think a man like Terrence Crawford says yes to everything because he's stupid. He didn't get this far. He didn't just say yes like Ryan Garcia did to Tank Davis. No, he's saying yes to everything because I really starting to think Terrence Crawford's going to go for it. He's really going to try to beat. He's not going in there for a paycheck. At one point, I could say that he might have been going in there for a paycheck. I think he really thinks he can do this. I think he really believes he can do it. He'd pull some shit like that off. Naoya Inoue would have to get 3 weight divisions to fucking, wow, we got some amazing fighters in our era right now. Look at the kind of men and women that are in front of you right now in this boxing era. And tell me that this ain't one of the best boxing eras of all time. When they talking shit about our era like back then was better, right? Really, back then was better? You guys had a 7-division world champion named Amanda Serrano? A woman champion back then like that? You guys had a heavyweight champion that unified all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions? Really? Yeah, because there's never been in the history of boxing any man to do that. Not only did one man accomplish it, hats off to Terrence Crawford, but we have 3 men that pulled it off. That's how skilled these guys are. In boxing era, listen, we got Javante Davis, we got the Shakurs, the Lomas, we got them all. This boxing era, yo, to put up these kind of champions, some of them don't live up to the expectation. Although they should be in the conversation, they won't be in it, Tank Davis, right? But for the rest of everybody, they got some pretty good fucking legacy careers I'm going on here. Look at Devin Haney unifying all the belts, right? This is not like a soft era. I mean, it comes with its controversy. Yes, understandable. A lot of ducking in this era has been going on. And that's a fact, Jack, right? But as far as accomplishments, I can't remember a year in boxing such as 2023 when we got that huge explosion. It was remarkable for boxing. Everybody was fighting for belts. We had some of the most 4-belt era champions. And this, look at the Josh Taylors, the Charlo twins. Man, and the list goes on. We have some interesting champions in this era of boxing. It's going to be tough when it's all said and done. On paper, Naoya Inoue's got to be the best champion in the world right now, on paper. As far as household name, popularity, big fight, Terence Crawford's got to be our best champion right now. Pound for pound. He's in a glamour division. More eyes are on Terence Crawford's division than there are on the lower division. So as far as glamour division, popularity, and he is damn fucking good, right? But for like that Terence got to be the one of the most. And that's why I say in every weight division, you can't really put Terence Crawford against Usyk. You can't really put Terence Crawford against Naoya Inoue. You're not. Those three men have equal right to their claim, and deservingly so. I'll give it to him. I believe Terence is the best up there. I think Usyk's the best, and Naoya Inoue is the best down there. That's the only way I can do it. I don't really want to say that, but on paper, though, if you were to take their resume, their accomplishments, and you were to put their accomplishments on paper next to each other, there's no one doing it like Naoya Inoue in the game. No fighter in the game doing it like him. He's coming on his third, and I repeat, third, all 4 belts title defense. You gotta honor that. He put up all 4 belts 3 times. There's no champion doing it like him. How many times did Saul? Well, Usyk defended them. Usyk, no, he didn't. Damn, Usyk's not in the record book. They stripped him for the IBF. Dubois got the IBF. So Usyk didn't even do it. Usyk didn't even get to defend all 4 belts. So he doesn't go down in the record books. Terence Crawford never defended all 4 belts. He didn't defend none of the belts at 140. He didn't defend none of the belts at 147. I mean, collectively, they're all. He defended his WBO at 147, but he only had 1 belt at the time. He has multiple title defenses on that WBO at 147. Yes, he does. I'm talking about all 4 belts. You put up all 4. That's what I'm talking about. 4 weight division, 24 consecutive world title defenses. The prestigious Muhammad Ali trophy, undefeated. He's lost about 9 rounds in his professional career. Oh, that's tough to go against, man. That's fucking tough. When he retires, he's going to, oh, man, we got to get one of our guys to step up, bro. Start winning these belts, man. What's Japan got right now today? 12 world titles? Is it 12, guys? Does anybody know? Anybody check? Because belts move around a lot down there in those weight divisions. And I don't have the privilege to always be looking up those Japanese fighters up there on the time frame being off. Sometimes a guy could lose or win a belt, and I'm not aware of it. I believe the last count that I had for Japan was 12. Japan was in first place. The U.S., we were in third. I think we're currently today. And I'm not talking about lifetime. I'm just talking about current world champions that we have today. United States has a handful of world champions. We don't have no champion past 154. We don't. Terence Crawford's our heaviest champion. That's our biggest champion, Terence Crawford. That's it. And we have another champion at 154, American champion, Sebastian Fundora, But since it's the same weight division, I'll just count Terrence Crawford. Make things less confusing. We don't have. Oh yeah. Wait. We got. We. I was gonna say we don't have no champions at the lower, but we got um the Puerto Rican superstar Oscar Collazo at 105. 105. I know it sounds crazy, but it is a weight division. It's a weight division. And my man don't got one belt. He got two. So it's not like he's fighting heavyweights, right? He's competing with guys his size. And as far as guys their size, he's the best. So he's doing his thing. So we do for an American, Puerto Rico is part of America. So we do have a champion at 105. Yeah. We can officially count that shit. Yes, we can. So, but other than that, we don't. Right now, I think that the UK right now is coming on strong. But we know the UK, they always, they're always like there. They got hella fighters, bro. They got hella fighters, man. And they got some strong UK fighters that I want to see later on, later on in their career, see where they end up. I thought like the Sonny Edwards of the world were going to push, but unfortunately, Sonny's a real small guy. There's a lot of UK fighters that I enjoy watching. One of the biggest UK stars was Anthony Joshua, the Klitschko's and things like that. They've always been in the heavyweight division, always, cruiserweights, middleweights, and etc. Um, and they got decent fighters out there, the Callum Smiths of the world and, all those guys and stuff. So they're always in it. They're always in it. Right now, Ukraine is dominating boxing by Usyk being the heavyweight champion of the world. So, yeah. Japan has 9 world titles currently. Thank you, brother Armando. Read my question I just put up, bro. What is it? What's your question you put up, James? Could I also mean that the what? Well, yeah. Let me see your question. If you can create a perfect fighter, best chin, best defense, best ring IQ, best power, most heart of all time, pick a fighter from each shit. That's a crazy question there, Matthew. Best fighter from any era. Best chin. Okay. Mexico's Julio Cesar Chavez. For his era, he had the best chin, one of the best ring IQs, great fighting style. I'm not sure if I could say he's underrated because in Mexican minds, he's probably a god, right? I think among the men in his era, he was around like the Roy Jones Jr.'s, the Sweepy Pernell Whitakers. I think he was in a tough era. But technically, as a fighter, durability, he's got to be one of the most durable fighters with one of the longest reigning records. What do you have, like 98 and 0? They talk about 50 and 0 with Mayweather, right? This man was up to like, nah, I think he passed like, he was in his 90s before he got defeated by Mildred. Well, Mildred Taylor didn't beat, well, he didn't beat him at that time. What's his name beat him? All right, forget the record. You told me the toughest. If I had to pick in an era, toughest chin, skill, Julio Cesar Chavez, man, he was a frightening human being. It was like at one point in time you couldn't knock him out, no matter what they hit this guy with, and they would be killing him for 8 rounds, 9 rounds, and he just turned on like a robot. He was relentless. And then at some point in the fight, it must have felt like you weren't even hurting him. He was just, when I think of a tough man, that's the kind of picture of a tough guy that comes into my head. Roberto Duran was tough. He just didn't have the greatest fighting instinct. By him conceding in that fight with Sugar Ray Leonard, it shows that he can be broken. So that's why I didn't pick men like that. Um, Floyd Mayweather is very underrated when it comes to, like there's some people that know exactly who he is, what he brought to the table. So to those guys, I'm not talking to you guys. There's a lot of guys that are just copy print fans that hear something slick, don't really like him. So they say, yeah, that must be it. He's always running. Floyd never ran from no one. Floyd stood right in front of you. Show me a video where Floyd was running, like just continues running. Not like Saul when he fought him at 36. I'm talking about real Floyd Mayweather, the real Floyd that stood in front of you. Floyd had an iron chin. No matter what you talked about Floyd, the reason why they didn't put him down, fucking didn't, what's his name? Madonna there knock out his tooth? Still didn't go down. He had an iron chin. Skill, defense, iron chin, toughness, skills, all of it. Floyd had everything. He had everything to offer. Some fighters were like tough for a certain time, like Mike Tyson, but he had quit in him. He, whatever age, doesn't matter. You're responsible for your training and your thing. If you quit, you quit. That's it. So as far as the toughest guys, you know, Roy Jones Jr. was another one. Then he became chinny. No one actually knows when that happens in the sport of boxing. It's just something that throughout your career, you're no one knows how many punches you can take. Just one day out of nowhere, your chin gives up. You get knocked out for nothing. Roy Jones became chinny. Went up playing with boxing, went up heavyweight, back down. It was too much of a weight jump. He go down 3 weight divisions to try to go back down to, it was just, he was asking his body for too much and his body finally gave out. But when Roy Jones was Roy Jones Jr., I'm not really sure, man. I mean, I've seen him take real big punches, Roy Jones, but no one hardly hit him. And I would have to put Naoya Inoue in there. I would have to put for Naoya Inoue for this era. Um, Naoya Inoue is a tough man. He's been put in tough situations. He's been, there wasn't a time where you hit Naoya Inoue with a body shot and the referee had to save you because it was clearly a body shot, but you said that your cup was in your stomach. So when you got punched in the stomach, Usyk, all of a sudden your cup was all the way up here. That was a clear body shot by Dubois. He didn't need for a referee to save him. There are certain moments inside of like boxing shit. Naoya Inoue, I had to put him in there for this era. Terrence Crawford is great. It's just that Terrence Crawford, you know, I love Terrence Crawford, but when it comes to telling the truth about Terrence Crawford hasn't really, not yet. It's not really his fault neither. Um, he just hasn't really solidified for me that big boxing guy. The guy that it was supposed to be Errol. That was supposed to be Terrence Crawford's like biggest achievement right there. It was supposed to be Errol because of who Errol made himself. Unfortunately, Errol flipped that car so many times that I can't give him full credit for beating Errol because he wasn't himself. And it was clear, man. Right? So I was like, damn, bro, Terrence, that was supposed to be your guy. Besides Errol Spence Jr. on Terrence Crawford's resume, what do you got? 10 fight Ishmael? Not good enough. Sean Porter, last fight, one fight before retiring? Not good enough. Amir Khan brought up two weight divisions? Not good enough. Yuri Gamboa brought up two weight divisions? Not good enough. Jose Benavidez, didn't he get shot in his knee? His first fight back, he fought Terrence Crawford? Not good enough. Where? Where on Terrence Crawford's resume can you? It was supposed to be Errol, but Errol, I can't give him that. I mean, I can't. He took it from Errol. Errol agreed to the fight. It's on Errol to show up, right? But I remember those car crash images of Errol Spence Jr. I thought he was done. I thought he would never fight again. Never mind, never fighting again. He came back and fought the pound for pound greatest fighter in the world. Errol was truly outmatched. His body wasn't responding. Uh, and if I look back, all I got is Ismail on his record. It's about it, really. I mean, the other guys are great fighters. By right, they are. He has a handful of great fighters, a few champions, and Terrence Crawford has fought Hall of Fame fighters. I think Errol Spence Jr. is going to the Hall of Fame for sure. So, you know, and at 140, he did his thing there too a little bit, Terrence Crawford. I mean, beating fighters like Jeff Horn and Dango is not going to do it for you. It's really not. Uh, but that's no fault to his own. That's no fault to his own. There were a lot of guys there that he could have fought that didn't choose to fight Terrence Crawford. They just didn't want to fight him. You couldn't drag those men in the ring. They knew they were going to catch that ass whooping. Terrence was going to put them hands on them. So in a sport where you can give the other guy a way out, it'll make Terrence Crawford's record look bad a little. But it's only due in part because everybody else was saying no. They didn't want to take that chance against that man. Terrence was going to beat them all regardless. And since I know they ducked him, and I have two eyes, I can see Terrence is the best fighter in those three divisions right there. He is clearly the best fighter, and they weren't going to beat him anyway. They just either ducked him, didn't want to sign to fight him. He had to fight these guys, and he did. Still won all the fights he needed to fight. But that's just some of the shit I talk about in boxing, where we got to hold these guys accountable and stop letting them walk out of these fights, and make it back to the time where that we used to share the names on our record were more important than being undefeated. It was an honor to share the ring with you. Win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? It would have been an honor to share the ring with fighters like Floyd Mayweather. Even if you lost, I fought Floyd. Really? Look right here. Wow. So that there's certain things that I think people forget. Canelo's defense defended his belts 4 times. Carlos, all 4 of his belts 4 times. It's fucking great. From the last time that he won. From the moment he won the IBF from Caleb Plant, that's when the clock starts ticking for Saul. From that moment right there, whatever fights he had against like Ryder, Munguia, shit, Edgar Berlanga, No. You can't get credit for Edgar Berlanga. He lost the IBF at that time. Yeah, you don't get Edgar Berlanga. You get Ryder, Munguia, that other Ukrainian dude. What was his name? I forgot how to say. I didn't forget. I just don't know how to say his name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Right? I know who he is. Who was the fourth one? What was the fourth time he defended all four of those belts? Who was the fighter? The other one he had move up. The Charlo twin. The Charlo twin actually was dumb enough to move up. He might have not been in the real weight division, but that goes down as a successful title defense for Saul, right? Yeah. So he defended against the Charlo twins. There's the four. There's the four right there. Yeah, those are the four he's defended his titles against. So he does get credit for that. So Naoya Inoue needs these fights. He needs one more fight to catch Saul. Oh, this is getting spicy. Fucking Mexico right now. Sneaking one on Japan. I fucking love it. Yeah, baby. Because this, when you raise the bar, okay, and hear me out, Japan. Get this message to Naoya Inoue. Whoever hearing this, he got to break this record, okay? All right? Because that's what I live for. That's the competition I talk about. You see? You know, that's like a guy in a basketball game dropping a quiet 30 points. Doesn't seem like he hit 30 points. It was a quiet 30 points. It doesn't seem like Saul Canelo Alvarez has all these title defense. It was a quiet title, but nevertheless, he did it. Naoya Inoue wants to keep one of those kind of titles when you retire. Is these are the things that count. What did you do in your reign, your era? Doesn't matter what anybody else did. What did you do? And I'm glad you brought that up, my man Carlos, because no matter what you think about these fighters, you can't take that away from Saul now, can you? That is a prestigious accomplishment. Like I said, who the hell gives you a phone call? Hey, buddy. Yeah, listen, look, I know your career ain't going nowhere. You probably don't even have a title. You know why? Because I have all four. I'm going to give you an opportunity at all four belts. How many people get that kind of phone call, you think, ever in the history of boxing? How many times is a fighter giving you the opportunity on one night to get everything? All my hard work, I'm giving it to you. You got to commend Saul Canelo Alvarez for that, because like I said in the beginning of this video, you cannot measure. There's no measuring stick for how far a human being is willing to go. You might think you can't do something. You might think you can't do 20 push-ups right now. But I guarantee you stay focused every day. 1, 2, sets of 2, sets of 5. Within a week's time, you're going to be doing 20 push-ups. And if I would have asked you in the beginning, do you think you could do 20? Nah, man, I can't do it. I'm old. Mom, I don't feel it. You don't know how far the human body or a person is willing to go. I have no measuring stick for that. No one in the world knew how far Buster Douglas was willing to go. Coming up into that fight, his mom had passed away. He dedicated that moment to her. They had no idea he was in the gym turning into him. This was his moment, his time to shine. He wasn't about to let it pass up, was he? That's something I cannot measure. An underdog, sometimes there's nothing more dangerous. You know? So, yeah. Yeah, guys. Let me scroll down. I'll give a take a fighter from each and make a perfect fighter. I would have only needed 2 fighters to do that. Yeah, Naoya Inoue is going for 3 title defenses. If the WBA doesn't schedule over Naoya Inoue, then he could have like 5 defenses by the end of the year. But I heard that the WBA wants to strip Naoya Inoue for MJ. Okay. I broke this down in one of my videos, but why not? Let's have at it real quick, and I'm going to try to do it as fast as possible, right? Okay. With that kind of situation, there's only one thing that matters in Naoya Inoue's title, prestigious title run, and the real man next in line. Here's the problem with having all 4 belts. Although it looks great, it's a pain in the ass. What happens? You have 4 title mandatories. You don't have 1, you don't have 2, you have 4, right? The trick to all of this is only one thing. There's only one thing in this situation that really truly counts: the next man in line. Whatever organization is next in line, that's who deems what's going to go on. What happens in the misconfusion to everything, which might seem like a lie, but in actuality, it really isn't a lie. You have the right to do this. Stay with me. If the WBA is here, they have a mandatory MJ. They can order Naoya Inoue to fight their guy. Why? MJ went to the office, filled out the paperwork. The organization backed them. They ordered the fight. All 3 of these organizations can order the fight, but there's only one organization that controls it: the next man up. If they don't got a fighter that wants to fight Naoya Inoue, then they go back to the end of the line, the next belt up. They go here. You see? These 3 can yell from a rooftop, I have a mandatory to Naoya Inoue's belt. My organization ordered the fight. I could order a steak and cheese sandwich with extra mayo. You could order anything you want, but you're going to remember there's going to be one thing that you need to listen to, are key words. When they said they ordered it, that means they weren't next in line. When they say that they're the mandatory next in line, Naoya Inoue can't duck that guy. Whenever you see an organization order a fight and they don't strip the guy, it's because they weren't the next man in line. They can't use the WBA's order to strip Naoya Inoue because it isn't valid yet. They got to get here. If the WBA is here and then they set a mandatory, don't order it anymore. That word leaves now. Now you have power. Now if you order the fight, make it a mandatory, and Naoya Inoue says no, give me my belt. They have the right to strip him. But if the Agmedalia, just like when he tried to interfere in the Sam Goodman fight, the boxer sanctioning bodies went through the books, found who was next in line, looked at MJ and said, nice try, but you're not the next man in line. He went back crying to the WBA. WBA said the toughest thing we can do is order the fight under your mandatory slot. Because you do have a mandatory slot for our organization. If none of the other organization is speaking up, well, we're saying we're speaking up. We want a shot. So the organization you have a belt with backed you. He has the interim belt, right? That secondary belt that he won the title eliminated. They put that fake ass belt around him. We all do know that Naoya Inoue has all 4 belts, but he has claim. You just got to find out the order. That's it. Because the other 3 guys are saying the exact same thing. I'm Naoya Inoue's mandatory. My sanctioning body ordered the fight. If Naoya Inoue doesn't fight me, they're going to strip his belt. Sounds good. Sounds good. Just not going to happen. Because the only person that really knows the truth is you, what order you're in, and Naoya Inoue's management team, who's next. That's what counts. Now, at any time, Naoya Inoue can choose any of those champions if they ordered it. Let's say now, for hypothetical, right? Picasso and MJ both get the organizations to back them, order the fight. None of them are the mandatory, but they both got number 1 slots. He can pick which one he wants to fight now out of them 2. He's not forced to fight any of them because, as we all know, you would have to be the next man in line. So if the next man in line can't perform like Sam Goodman, it would have went to the next guys. Some reason Agmedalia and Top Rank promotional they don't get along. That's a pissing contest that has really nothing to do with them fighting as fighters. I believe MJ will fight Naoya Inoue, and I believe Naoya Inoue will knock out MJ. But their promotional companies, for whatever reason, are not getting along. And Top Rank seems to be sticking it to them, and they're public about it. They're not hiding anything. So much, in fact, that Bob Arum said if Naoya Inoue beat Sam Goodman at the time, it was supposed to be Sam Goodman. He said, Naoya Inoue beat Sam Goodman. Guess who he's fighting next? David Picasso. He ain't fighting you, Agmedalia. They don't want to fight Agmedalia. Not because they're scared of him. It's because the management promoters, because if you just unleash Naoya Inoue, Naoya, get him. MJ's done. It's not like he's running from him because he fears his style, anything about the man. He knocked out the man you couldn't knock out that took your belt. You weren't good enough to beat Marlon Tapales. Marlon Tapales took you to a decision and walked off with your belt. So if you don't got the power to knock out Marlon Tapales or to stop him, Naoya Inoue destroyed him. So he beat up the guy that took your shit. So don't try to convince me that he's scared of you. It's not that kind of situation. It's not. This is more politics than anything, their situation. But I got to admit one thing. The soonest, and I mean the minute he gets here, MJ, I want to see if he takes the fight. I want to see. I've seen fighters throughout their career act like they wanted to smoke Virgil Ortiz. I've seen this before. I've seen when they put mics in front of the fighter. Terence Crawford, I'm your mandatory. I will fight you. The next day, no paperwork was submitted. The WBC contacted him. Yo, we saw you want the Terence Crawford fight? Is there any microphones on in here? Hell no. I don't want that fight. I ain't ready for that man. Keep that man away from me. But every time you put a microphone in front of my face, I'm going to act like I want the smoke. I've seen that 100 times in boxing. Naoya Inoue, stop ducking me. Yeah, that looks cute. That's really cute. Until you're in the ring with him. And that's when I'll tell you on that night when everything changes. I've heard grown-ass men, warriors, real fighters, talk about that same situation. They look at Naoya Inoue walking in. Wow, he's tiny. Wow, he looks a little thin there. Looks frail. Oh, bro. I'm gonna break this dude. They said the same damn thing the minute, and I mean the second they stepped in the ring with him. Paul Butler walked up to him. He looked him in the eyes and he goes, "That's not the guy I was looking at yesterday." He looked at him. He looked at him like this. He was like, he could see his aura, he said. He knew that he fucked up. At that moment right there, Paul Butler was like, I have a feeling I messed up. He just changes to all business. And it's going to be really difficult, but there's a gauntlet at 126. The more I think about it every day, I got to see this shit to believe it, bro. Every single time Naoya Inoue moved up, I was just like, dude, don't do it. Stay where you're at. Be dominant. Write out your career right there. And then he jumps up, and then I'm thinking every single time, nah, this is gonna be the one. This is the division. He bit more than he can chew. Like, these guys are just eventually gonna be too big. I gotta be honest. I was cocky and everything because, I just believed in Naoya Inoue against Stephen Kubo Fulton. I just always believed that truly he was the better fighter and everything. It was just a matter of him proving it. Moving up one weight division, Stephen Kubo Fulton being the champion in the division, it was hard to see a scenario where that I thought that he would dominate the way he did. I thought it would be a tough fight. I thought there were going to be some swing rounds, and perhaps there could have been a knockdown in the fight. I thought Stephen Kubo Fulton had enough to take him the 12 rounds, and he was big enough to take Naoya Inoue's power. Boy, was I wrong on everything. Even though I had Naoya Inoue in the fight, I have never betted against Naoya Inoue. Any fight he has come up against, I've had him in that fight. And I got to admit, I had him in the fight, but the way he did it, I was just like, man, his power has carried throughout the divisions. When we see such fighters like Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, those are fighters that their power really never translated from the 130 to 135. Now these guys are being reported of moving up 147. Tio, Jaron Boots Ennis, the Saudi Prince. I know about all these gimme fights that he's trying to put together. But before I come up here on Round One Sports Talk and report all these fighters, there's some things I got to see first. Like, yes, I heard about the report, Ryan Garcia fighting against Isa Pitbull Cruz. I know all about it. But doesn't Isa Pitbull Cruz got a fight coming up right now on that David the Monster Benavidez card? Is this another scenario where he's putting the cart before the horse once again, like he did with Anthony Joshua, Dante Wilder? Made plans for them, announced their next fight, and they went and lost that fight. Isa, etong pangkomil, yes, Isa Pitbull Cruz should beat this guy, hands down. I checked him out. Yeah, he should. But like I said, Buster Douglas. All right, you never know what's gonna happen. So Isa should walk through this. Now let's think about some of these gimme fights. Did you just say Ryan Garcia versus Isa Pitbull Cruz at what weight? 147. You mean to tell me you're gonna blimp up Isa Pitbull Cruz more than you already blimped him up at 140? Isa Pitbull Cruz is 5'3". He's not a 140 pounder. He's not even a 135 pounder. He's a natural 130, 126 pounder. That's what Isa Cruz is supposed to be fighting at. And you mean to tell me somehow he's going to fight Ryan Garcia where? At 147. You guys believe that? You guys believe Tio's going to fight Jaron Boots Ennis at 147? Is that what they told you? Just like they saying Saul's supposed to fight Skull. And that's going to be the tune-up to the Terrence Crawford. Cinco de Mayo. Williams. Wait a minute. If they're going to have Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia on the same card, which that's going to supposed to be on the Cinco de Mayo weekend with Saul. If Devin Haney's supposed to fight this old ass dude on his way out, Ramirez, right? Hell no, man. This Saudi Prince dude is out of his mind, bro. Listen. I mean, you could put these fights together. They just not making sense for me. If Tio has the belt at 140, why would you want him to go to 147 to fight a dangerous fight against Jaron Boots Ennis? At the other token, Jaron Boots Ennis hasn't really been challenged. The second option to Tio was Richard Hitchison at 140. If he didn't fight Subriel Matias for the biggest payday, now you're going to convince me that you're going to fight Richard Hitchison and Jaron Boots Ennis to lock down 10 years with Top Rank when you didn't want to be with them for no more years? Some of these fights just don't make any damn sense in my head. And I'm just like, I don't want to come up here and start reporting all this nonsense when I'm sitting here looking at this shit and I'm saying to myself, Ryan Garcia should not be fighting no goddamn pit bull. Then they're acting like this fight just got announced with Jose Valenzuela and the Russell kid. How the hell did the Russell kid get 2 title fights back to back and he lost one? Then he denied one fight to get the Jose fight. So he dug some smoke to get the Jose fight because he claimed he had bigger fish to fry. And the reason why I'm saying that, because Jose Valenzuela's name is being thrown around right now for Tio as well. See, the Saudi Prince is making too many promises he can't keep. And he's making these promises while these guys have fights scheduled. How are you going to talk about Isa Pitbull Cruz? And how are you going to talk about Jose Valenzuela when they got men in front of them? How are you going to attach them? That's what I mean about this Saudi Prince. That's the one thing I really don't like about what he does. I feel like it wastes our time as reporters sometimes. And it doesn't allow us to always see through the bullshit when sometimes it's clear as day this guy doesn't want to fight these people. Because of all these distractions, I think that even I can become distracted by some of these bullshit ass gimme fights that I don't think we're really going to get. If Nick Ball, what? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. If you want to get a measuring stick with someone that Naoya Inoue shared the ring with, a good measuring stick would have been to get in the ring with Stephen Kubo Fulton. That would have been a great measuring stick. TJ Doheny is on his way out and he's only taking these fights. They're actually title fights. He got an opportunity for 5 belts. In his last 2 fights, TJ Doheny fought for 5 belts. 4 against Naoya Inoue. If he fights against Nick Ball's belt. They gave you a phone call in your last 2 fights for 5 fucking belts. That's hard to pass up. But it's not a good measuring stick because he's not one of the guys that fared the best against Naoya Inoue. You would have to get an opponent that fared remotely well. And if you could dominate that guy, there's your measuring stick. Not a guy that he punched and damn near broke his spine. That's not a good measuring stick. And it might give you a false sense of confidence against Naoya Inoue. Let's say Nick Ball goes out there and destroys TJ Doheny, which I got to see that to believe it. Because let's not forget that the first man in TJ Doheny's entire boxing career to knock him out or stop him was the Monster. Nobody else could do that shit. So that's easier said than done, Nick Ball. So Nick Ball, you're going to have to prove that shit. Right? So it's the guy that he chose can give him a false sense that he's ready for the Monster. When the guy that you're fighting against was never ready for the Monster. Why did you pick the guy that had the less success rate against the Monster? You picked the guy. You should have at least brought up Luis Pantera Nari. Shit, he dropped Naoya Inoue at least. Stephen Kubo Fulton, for me, was the greatest measuring stick you have. He's skilled. He's good. He's athletic. He's fast. You could beat that guy. Naoya Inoue brutalized that man for 8 rounds. He didn't win 10 seconds in the fight. Not 10 seconds. That's a good measuring stick. Go do that to Stephen Kubo Fulton and get back at me. Not TJ Doheny. Psst, fuck out of here, bro. You went and picked the guy that had the less success rate against the man. And you think by beating that man, it's going to give you what? It's going to say what? Hell no. Pitbull is going to get he's going to get destroyed. Annihilated. Shit. Freaking. That's not even a fair fight, bro. All 5'3" of them against Ryan Garcia's 147-pound left check hook. He's going to kill Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's going to punch his head right off his shoulders. Yo, my God. That's not cool. I don't think that fight's going to happen. Ryan can't make 140, yeah. So he has to fight at a catch weight 143, 147. That's what he said. But the Saudi Prince called Ryan Garcia a junkie, basically, right? Ryan Garcia went out there telling the Saudi Prince and wanting to be. The Saudi Prince said, yo, wait. First, you know I do not like the drugs. You know I do not like the drugs and people that do the drugs. First, you need to pass a drug test. After you pass the drug test, you need to pass a steroid test, Ryan. Once you pass the steroid test, Ryan, I will do business with you. But not until you get off the smack, Ryan. Ryan's looking at him like, bro, I ain't no junkie, bro. What's wrong with you? My man, the Saudi prince, if you smoke weed, you're basically a crackhead in his head, in his mind. He don't play that shit. They don't put nothing in their temple, their body. So he's not he probably like that old parent that sees their kid smoke a joint. Oh my God, you need a 6-month program. You're hooked. Right. And they get a little dramatic with it, but I think that Ryan, he be on some shit. It was funny to hear the Saudi prince talk about it. He's like, Ryan, you need to get off the smack, Ryan. I was dying. I was crying. Whose interview? They got him on the phone. The Saudi, like, I'm not even making this up. He was talking with Fight Hype. Which one is Fight Hype? Fight Hub? Marcus, the Marcus, the Latin dude. He was talking to him on an interview. So if you want to check it out, I think it's on Fight Hype, the phone call. And he asks him, hey, what do you think about Ryan? He said, well, I got to tell you the truth. Ryan needs to go get clean. I was dying. I was like, what? Homeboy basically called Ryan a junkie. I was crying. But Ryan comes with issues, and I think that's why he walked out with his hands in his pocket looking down, because he probably didn't get the answer he wanted from the Saudi prince. And the Saudi prince said, I will not talk to you, Ryan, until you pass clean. And then that's when I know that your head's in the game and we could schedule a fight. And he just threw out Esau Pitbull Cruz's name out there just to kind of like please Ryan along. Yeah. But once he said that, I was like, oh shit. Ryan got to get his shit together. If you want to get in the sweepstakes, you want to get in that motherfucking oil money, you better get your shit together, baby. Fulton already beat what? Fulton, Nick Ball? Yeah, but at 126. We're at 126. Like, he's looking like a mini Mike Tyson, Nick Ball there. You know how when, like, okay, for instance, Stephen Kubo Fulton said, it wasn't Naoya Inoue, it was me. I was a little bit weight drained, and I'm going to go up to 126 because that'll be a better version of myself, right? Okay. So if you're claiming that's the best version of yourself, Nick Ball's the champion, and he feels like that weight division right there, he's the strongest. Stephen Kubo Fulton has gotten better since he's been in the ring with Naoya Inoue. Even though he got dropped his last fight, he looked better in that fight than he did in Naoya Inoue fight. Of course, that guy wasn't probably putting the kind of pressure Naoya Inoue was putting on him. He was able to breathe a little bit more, but he looks that much faster. He got caught. He got dropped. He got up, put it back together. But I got to admit, Stephen Kubo Fulton looks better. Now, Stephen Kubo Fulton's gotten better. Naoya Inoue has also gotten better. But now you've beat this version of him. I just thought it would be a better measuring stick. Yeah. It would be a better measuring stick than fucking, TJ Doheny. Shit. Like I said, I would have took Marlon Tapales. I would have took fucking Luis Pantera Nari. If you want to share, because you want one guy that shared the ring with him. That was the whole, I'm not saying get a better fighter at 126, then now we're changing the equation. I'm trying to stay on the equation of men that also fought Naoya Inoue that have the potential to move up to 126 to challenge Nick Ball. That's where my mind is trying to correlate the fighters. Not picking some other guy. No, you're changing shit. So MJ for me would have been a great fight. Nah, I don't. MJ should stay at 122. He's kind of little. I think Marlon Tapales would make the weight at 126. He has a bigger, his face. Marlon Tapales would be better. Yeah, that would probably be the best scenario. Other than that, no. But let's see. Nick Ball thinks that this is going to be a measuring stick. Well, have at it, buddy. Have at it. If that's going to give you courage, we'll find out. We will find out. The most interesting for me is Espinoza at 126. It's a fucking puzzle right there. Good luck, Naoya Inoue. I still got Naoya Inoue in the fight. I'm not going against him, right? I learned don't bet against Naoya Inoue. So I'm not. I don't care who you got at 126. I got Naoya Inoue in the fight. Shit. I'm so cocky and so arrogant right now. Put two of those goddamn champions in the ring with him. He gonna beat him. You know what I mean? That's how you gas up your fighter. That's how you gas him up right there. We're using some real gasoline up in this month. Right? Because I'm scared. I'm nervous for Naoya Inoue at 126. Truth be told, I'm nervous. I mean, how far can he? How much further can he go, man, guys? Like, yo, my man came up from 108 pounds. 108. He started his career at 108 pounds, bro. And he was cutting weight to make the 108. He would cut 3 pounds, I heard. How far could he actually really go? I know I like to fantasize. I know, but I got to calm down. I got to calm down and talk real human standards. It's easy to let a lot of these sentences and situations roll off the tip of the tongue. It's easy for me to just say something. It's a lot, reality is a lot different. And just my brain, my boxing brain doesn't let me compute this shit. He's not supposed to be doing this. You got to understand this. He's not like a guy that was 6'1", like Espinoza, and can make the weight. And this whole time he had the body structure to move out through the course of the divisions, and he still stood the chance to fare really well. He was just a big guy that can cut weight. Then he started going towards his more natural. I've seen that happen a lot of times. I didn't fear those guys because they had the stature to go along that way. Not like Floyd. He never belonged at 154. Never belonged at 147. The most I gave Floyd was 140, 135, and 130, where he started his career. He was never supposed to be at 154. That was an achievement most men would never pull off in this world. That's why he's among the elite fighters. Floyd Mayweather. When, as far as you're not supposed to be doing this shit. And every single weight jump, I'm saying to myself, this is it. He's going to get dealt with here. At some point, these guys are just going to be too big. Skill won't matter. What you saw with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, it might give you the impression that Ryan Garcia is the better fighter, but that can't be further from the truth. Devin Haney is still a better fighter than Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is just got a monster check hook and was just a bigger dude. And he's fast as fuck, boy. So if you don't catch up to him, he's going to catch up to you. But he's not technically the most skilled fighter. You know, I still think Devin, he lost it, got caught early, but Devin is the most skilled. It would be the same scenario with H2O and the Canadian that beat him. That Canadian dude wasn't a better fighter than H2O. H2O was winning that entire fight. He got sloppy and he got knocked out But even though he got knocked out, I still think H2O was the better fighter in that ring. He made a mistake. And he paid for it. Same scenario with Devin. I don't think Ryan Garcia is a better fighter than Devin Haney. No, I do not. You put them in different boxing situations. Ryan Garcia is just a big kid that started beating on smaller dudes in a way. And because Devin Haney had the stigma of being a weight bully, which he in fact was, it kind of overshadowed everything that Ryan Garcia was doing. All his mental breakdowns and going this. Didn't really let you see the fights with like Fortuna and shit like that. Like these dudes were little. You know? What's his name? Omar, the one he knocked out his Mulder. He was a big guy was a big guy. I felt like they were on the more the same size with Ryan Garcia and him. Luke Campbell was a big kid. He's gold, Olympic medal winner. Luke Campbell was a pretty big guy. He fought some small dudes. He's not all small, Ryan. Nah. I take that back. They weren't all small. Some were. Yeah, there were a couple. Then they were like, because Ryan's a big kid. He's a big kid, as you saw. For the first time in my life, I finally saw a match. Devin Haney was the smaller guy. And boy, was he the smaller guy by like a lot. Ryan Garcia legitimately looked like he was 2 weight divisions bigger than Devin when he got in that ring. His back was so big, bro. He's so much bigger than that man. What's up, Carlos? What you guys got to say? Edwin, belt, the Notre Dame belt. Yeah, we putting the Notre Dame on the line, baby. On the line at 6 in the morning. And Naoya Inoue's fight. If you guys don't show up, I guess I'll be the only guy there. And by default, I'm awarded the Notre Dame World. I don't want to win it like that. Listen, Notre Dame's world title is on the line. Is where you, the boxing fan, can come here at Round One Sports Talk, and we only do the main event. We call the other fights, we talk about it, but when the real belt is on the line, he's on the main event. You must come in, pick the fighter and the correct round in order to win the Notre Dame's world title and prove you know what you're talking about when it comes to this thing we call boxing. So join us. We're gonna be shooting the Notre Dame's world title on multiple fights. We'll be there for the Davis fight, Davis the Morale and Davis the Monster Benavides. We're gonna run it there. I'm gonna run in Naoya Inoue and all big major world title fights. We will be running our exclusive title here at Round One Sports Talk. Is one of the most prestigious belts in all of boxing. Once you win the Notre Dame's world title, what are these belts? In comparison, what really are these belts? Nothing. Notre Dame's world title is where it's at. And the only way you can win that is here at Round One Sports Talk. So join us here at Round One Sports Talk. This Notre Dame's world title. Armando, Frontline, Bam Bam Boogie, Carlos here. All guys that try to come here and beat me for my belt. It's not going down. You guys are never going to win. You guys are never going to be. Why? Because I am the greatest. And I'm going to remain Notre Dame's world champion. Right now, we have no idea who the Notre Dame's world champion is, right? Because we haven't had a fight here in quite some time. So I think we're going to have to run the belt and put it on the line. Might as well just give it to me. You guys know I'm the best, right? Yo. Shushu Carrington, I don't think it will ever be ready for Naoya Inoue, if you ask me my personal opinion. At one time, I thought he would be. I thought that Shushu Carrington, there was a point in time that I really thought that Shushu would give Naoya Inoue one of his best fights. I got to be honest with myself. I don't think that Shushu came along in the last 5 years the way I wanted him to come. He should be a little bit further in his skill. We saw him like, what was it, 2 fights ago? Shushu looked bad. He looked lost in the fight. He kind of looked like he thought that all he had to do was show up and he would win the fight. The guy actually fought him. Shushu looked real bad. The next fight, he looked a little bit better, just not on Naoya Inoue's level. Shushu's like right here when it comes to the level in the sport of boxing. Naoya Inoue is somewhere around here. The skill gap in between both their styles, Naoya Inoue would hurt Shushu Bruce Carrington bad. If you gave it up to, he doesn't pass the 4th, 5th round. He doesn't make it out of 4 or 5 rounds. Not with Naoya Inoue. The thing with Shushu Carrington is he likes to throw the shot and try to retreat backwards. He tries to like throw it and bounce and like try to go forward. That's probably one of the worstest moves you can do against a fighter like Naoya Inoue. I wouldn't recommend that. He catches you in those windows. He's really good in like figuring out the human body. Like if you throw this, typically you're going to throw this unless you double up on this. If your body went too forward, he knows that your momentum carried you. The likelihood of you throwing this hand is probably non-existent. You're probably going to shoot this hand. Throw your shot out like this. Block, peel, hook. He's going to destroy Bruce. He doesn't have enough punch to keep him off of him. And he doesn't have enough skill to keep him off. Naoya Inoue is going to figure Bruce out in 1 round. Typically, Naoya Inoue, he's the elite fighter, though. Not a lot of fighters can do this. He's already read what he needed to read in 1 round against you, Naoya Inoue. He's a great boxing reader. He can read boxing really well. The next 2 rounds, the second and the third, if you survive it, it'll be up to the guy evading. Notice it's never when the guy and him are exchanging. Very few fighters exchange with Naoya Inoue. It's not like something that it can't be done. A lot of people just don't want to take the risk. Fighters like Donaire, Jason Maloney, Emmanuel Rodriguez, that they tried to meet Naoya Inoue at the center of the ring and exchange with him. They quickly realized how sharp he was, that the windows of opportunity were different for him. Meaning, Naoya Inoue's punching in sequences, you typically don't punch in. That's what's messing up a lot of these fighters. But for the more the film, the more times he fights, the more coaches got to study him. They're starting to put together a plan to defeat him. You better believe it. And they're starting to see some of the tail signs of Naoya Inoue, and they're trying to figure it out. The problem with him, he's not predictable. Naoya Inoue doesn't do the same shit too many times. That's what makes him a special fighter. He can go in his bag and pull out an arsenal of punches. So devising a game plan against him is pretty tough. It really is. It is pretty tough. But any fighter can be beat, bro. Any fighter can be beat. It's just there's some kid out there. He's training every day and he's studying Naoya Inoue's every move. Believe me, that fighter's gonna come. That fighter is gonna show up. But for right now, he's on the top of the world. He's on the top of his game. Naoya Inoue is truly, truly, truly the most complete fighter we have in our era. He's probably one of the most decorated champions we do have in our era as well. But I can't remember if Usyk, I see the only reason why I'm not confident to say what I want to say, because I can't remember right now. For some reason, Usyk's reign at cruiserweight. That's the only I got Terrence Crawford's down in my head, both weight divisions. I know what he did. I know his achievements. Usyk's one. I know at heavyweight. At some reason, the cruiserweight I can't, because I wanted to say something about Naoya until I can get that positive. I'm not just gonna say anything just because I feel like it. No, only facts here. Round One Sports Talk. If it ain't a fact, I can't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because I'm tired of giving these guys, like the rest of these shows, credit for these fights they haven't pulled off, Mr. Tank Davis. No, you're not getting credit for that no more. You're going to have to fight some of these guys. You know? So, fight fans, I'm about to cut this one right here. I got my smoker's vest on. I was going to sit here and chop it up for a little while. I kind of went into a whole thing, huh? Oh, 2 hours? Not bad. Not bad. Not that too bad. I thought I was on longer. So, fight fans, listen. Carlos, yeah, man. Oh, the day Naoya Inoue loses one round, Sports Talk will close the doors. Yo, stop it. It's not like I'm on it because I'm like riding so high on this dude. I'm just like cheering him on. No, the only reason why he gained my respect and the only reason why I talk about that man is because he's truly doing some remarkable shit. He's truly the best fighter we have. And that's not even like tooting his horn. Even if I wasn't a fan of Naoya Inoue, I would have to admit, you can only be credited and judged for what you do in your own weight division. That's all you can get credit for. I don't care what Tank's doing, Terrence, Usyk. They got to deal with the men in their weight division. What are you guys doing in your own weight division? What's he doing in his? You know, um, he fought 15 world champions up to date, beat 13 of them. It's not bad. It's not bad, bro. So, and then coming into his 24th consecutive world title fight, that's not fucking bad, bro. I mean, that's exceptionally great. When no person in the world has ever done that throughout 4 divisions. 24 consecutive world title fights in one division. I think somebody did that. I remember Ray, Jack Johnson, Ray Robinson, them type dudes. They had like 30 plus fucking title fights. Like, so I know in one division it's possible, but through the course of 4 divisions, I've never seen that. I've never, ever, ever, ever in my life seen nothing like that. So that's the only reason why I be high on him, bro, guys. So I know I talk him up, man, because I talk up the best fighters we have, bro. Sometimes we think some of these guys are the best fighters in the world, and you wake up to realize he's Tank Davis. All the skills in the world, all the knockout power in the world. I don't know why the fuck he ain't fighting these guys, but he's not. I don't have an answer for you. I just don't. But if you ask me, I still think Tank Davis is one of the greatest fighters. I don't got nothing to back that up with. It would be only my opinion. I like Tank. I really hope he shuts a lot of these people up. And I hope he shows the boxing world who he truly is. For as much as I'm upset with him, I'll still rock with him. Tank's still my dude, bro. I'm just mad. Just mad that he ain't fought none of these dudes, bro. But that's what he chose to do. That's what he chose to do. So, fight fans, listen, guys, I got to get out of here. Love you guys. Love yourselves. Please, it takes nothing. Just click the like button on this video. It would help me out so much. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. My name is Edwin. I always love to talk boxing. Where does all fights start? Round 1. So, guys, until the next time we meet, I'm here, Round 1 Sports Talk. Good night.